Okay, so welcome to, I have no idea which number of the meeting it is, but we'll figure it out afterwards. New NixOS marketing meeting. Today, we're going to be in a small group because I didn't announce it properly. It was just announced today, but I'm going to do a better job next time. And also last time, I think we skipped it. So yeah, there's lots of work that we need to kind of review whether it's in a good position or not. And for today, we have the agenda, kind of looking at the pages. And yeah, that's it. Sounds good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll go quickly. So the first page, community. Do you have any comments regarding it? Like in general, how the design looks and the elements. Try to slowly.
I will say before every time you're going to ask this question, I'm not going to answer because, well, I was involved in approving the PRs and looking at it at the very least. So, Helco, please respond.
Yeah, no, it looks good to me. So, yeah.
Okay. I'll then open also the governance and donate. I think these three kind of go quite well kind of together. I think these are quite standard. So we have, let's look at the donate. I'm sure there is definitely things to improve on this website, like in terms of content. I know that, but I think it's a redesign from what we had, right? So this is the donate and governance. Now the interesting thing here, you can go to the, let's see, marketing team, and then there is also the breadcrumbs in the title, I think. The second part of this job, I guess looking forward, how this will change is that we will most likely merge, if you agree, of course, right? Community and governance, and maybe even donate page into kind of one community page. But I have no idea yet how.
My main worry with putting the merging the donate page into the other pages is that the donate action, the call to action from the main menu disappears. But
Okay, yeah, I mean, that's, we can bring the donate in, I mean, this is a valid concern, although we can add the donate next to the download page, which is kind of the next thing we will actually look at. You know, before where you download, you know, support the project in this way. Yeah, so that might be there. So it kind of exposes it, although not in top navigation. A possible solution to this, right?
Yeah, it's just about making sure there's still call to actions at some places, so it's not lost in the bottom of one page.
And then there is a download page. I think this, with the current 2009 release, it was quite nice how it was done. It was almost hands-off. I think this is still missing here. We're still waiting for evaluation to succeed. And then the regions will be there. But yeah, I think it looks nice. There is one thing we didn't implement, although it was in the design, was that you can actually go to the older versions and kind of download older versions, which is here in the green thing. There should be like a drop down with pointing to the last interesting versions or archive.
Right.
I think that would be nice, or at least pointing to the releases.nixos.org. But yeah, and the same thing goes for NixOS. But I don't think there is an issue, but I'll create one after the meeting. So this is a download. I think it looks pretty okay comparing to before. And then the biggest one was the learn. This changed a bit, and it's far from how we. This is I think the content, the page that is going to receive the most attention going forward. Because we want to improve in this area. Right now, if I will go to the artwork where we have the design for the learn page. So that might, I think it's the third one. There we go. So what's not been done is actually these examples. And these are kind of like so first there is the Nix overview, which is actually the features page, but we'll come to that in a second. So that we might have 3 buttons, not only 2. Because these are, with the first section, we try to answer what is the most interesting. So how do you install Nix? And how do you develop with Nix? Or kind of first steps with Nix. This all links to the already existing tutorials. Are they good? No. I mean, are they perfect, the tutorials? No, but we can improve on them, right? And then at the current place, I'll just close this windows. At the current place, I added the search in this bluish area. And later on, we can add the buttons for language-specific tutorials, or actually like examples. The idea for this section came from actually from Bazel, where they have language-specific tutorials. So most likely a person that comes to Nix is like, let's say, a Python developer, and he's like, oh, how can I use Nix with Python, right? And there should be an easy way how to do this. Below there comes a guide, which we need to add much more. And I guess as we will be adding them, we need to figure it out how to organize this. And the same goes with the manual. This is just the current structure, how I think it's presentable. And there are some kind of pointing to the other learning resources. And that's kind of it. Comments on this section. I hope to focus just on the examples in the next quarter, in this release cycle.
Yeah, looks good.
Yeah. I do have a question. Maybe, I'm not sure if this is the right, but how should we approach now that the Markdown RFC is supposedly is going to be merged, we all assume, how should we approach converting manuals into documentation?
Well, what do you mean? I mean, they're already documentation. You're generating HTML.
So yeah, exactly. So it's going to be converted from XML to Markdown.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that depends on what tools people choose for Nix packages, and so for instance, for Nix, it's MD book. So you get a HTML directory out of it.
Okay, so I will just show the unstable where the MD book is used.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the question is, do we want to style this, or?
I suppose we want to, yeah.
There's one good thing. There's one good thing with the fact that it's Markdown. we probably can use different tool chains for different uses. So even if you structure form MDBook, it's still markdown underneath all. So if
only so long as we're not using any special features, and I think we will end up using some features.
Yeah, and as we described in the RFC, it's we prefer features that can be implemented easily or that are already implemented in multiple, but not necessarily forced to be implemented in multiple implementations. But yeah, if it's a big if there is an issue integrating one particular tooling into the website or vice versa, we can probably use another one. And in fact, if we always have two tool chains using the same inputs, we kind of guard ourselves against making too specific markdown for this tool chain.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I'm actually not that worried about the whole markdown, the specifics of the markdown syntax that we'll use or the toolchain, regardless of what it is. I'm more into what interests me more is I'll maybe try to rephrase it is when a person comes to a website, especially beginner, they don't understand while we kind of, for us, I think it's kind of intuitive, is that what Nix manuals contains, right? So Nix manual is, so what's inside is what's the audience we target there, right? What is the scope of it? Once you start using it, of course, this becomes obvious. And then the same goes, even more obvious becomes for Nix packages manual and NixOS manual.
So let me rephrase, let me say what I understood and tell me if that's what you wanted to know. So you're looking into the structure of the different manuals itself, what we're going to do about it in the next steps, right?
Yes. So I'm just looking from perspective. A user comes to the website. They need to find information, right? So right now they need to kind of like it is like I'll scroll a bit. So these guides kind of show you only about Nix, what you can do. I think we can do even better with the titles, but fine. I think it's good enough. But even going further, if I would not expose the kind of the short version of table of contents for each manual, it would be a bit hard to understand, right? So
yeah.
I think I would say this way, it might be that we might even split these manuals into more or merge them, I don't know. I'm not really worried how we will handle this in the backend. I mean, in the backend, in the build tool and all of this. I'm more worried how we present it.
Let me just start this by saying that it shouldn't be a topic for the marketing meeting, but for something else about documentation, where we get more of the people that are, I think there were people NextCon 2019 that worked into planning something about documentation. So maybe get another place to discuss about the documentation itself and its structure, because otherwise I'm sure there's many people that are not interested into working on the marketing stuff, but are interested into handling this documentation problem.
Oh, that's definitely true. I mean, there is a bit of marketing in documentation, and that's actually just this part that, it's about that they are the right tutorials in the right places. That's the marketing side of it, that the user can find it and it's in their face. So, that the right user finds the right manual. That's the kind of the marketing behind it, and that's it. But I think I would love if there would be a documentation team, and I hope that in the near future, we'll have it. I think we can invite all the others, because I think the learn page will be the biggest effort we will put in the future. And if nobody else will work on the documentation, I think the marketing team will. Or if somebody is interested in documentation, they can join marketing. We start working when there is 2-3 people. We have a documentation team, and we'll split the efforts. Does it make sense?
Well, I think so. I just wanted to preface that we shouldn't discuss the structure before we try getting other people on board, just in case to make sure there's no bias or anything that is perceived into our efforts.
No. That's correct.
Yeah, but I think so Rock is a good point. I mean, you could say that the presentation on the learn page is what should direct the structure of the manual, because you can. So if you think about it from what is the nicest structure for a new user, then that should determine the structure.
Yeah.
I mean, so currently the structure of the manuals is determined by the structure of the project. So we have different repositories, so we have different manuals. But a beginner is not interested in the Nix versus Nix packages split.
It's a implementation detail that is not relevant for many users, that even not new users, but many already experienced users. It's really just an implementation detail that's not important.
Yeah. So I would guess you would want a sort of a Nix book for beginners, and so it shows you how to use Nix and how to write Nix expressions, or how to start writing Nix expressions, and then there could be another reference manual, although it could be part of the same manual, just a different part of the same manual. Doesn't really have to be a separate document. And then NixOS would be a separate thing, because you don't really care about it if you're a regular Nix user. But so the Nix packages manual could probably just be integrated into the Nix manual, because if you start writing your first Python package, then you probably expect to find that in the Nix manual.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the first words you used, which were manuals and reference, are a good track to follow. So we probably want the Nix and Nix packages manual. That is something that you can follow like a story, like from the ground up, where every chapter builds on the precedent instead of just being chapters that you have to. Currently, the Nix manual, if you want to know what the syntax is, I think it's chapter 14th, after many other concepts are introduced. And then we also need a reference that is more to the point, that this is a syntax, this is concept X, this is concept Y, and the reference doesn't need to be necessarily ordered into a specific order. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, there is I think the first part which you said is about the guides or tutorials, which is usually self-contained, or at least it points you to which knowledge is required beforehand, and it has an objective, what it will teach you, right? And the second part, I think, what I hope that we will get out of this reconstruction is that the whole manuals will become much less. Strange wording. They will become much smaller, because they will only contain the reference documentation, and then all the how to use things, how to do Python documentation will move into this tutorials, guides, and so on, right? Example. And I think a nice example would be, we need a tutorial about how to learn Nix language, you know? And part of it might be in this Nix manual, where is the reference documentation.
So are you saying that these guides so there should be a lot of separate guides rather than chapters in a Nix book or something like that?
Yeah, I think
Because I'm thinking, for instance, of the Rust book. I mean, so that's a fairly sizable book,
yeah.
but it does target beginners.
Yes. So, but then that thing you actually have to kind of read from beginning to the end, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is fine. You know, I mean, you can jump a bit if you want, but it's kind of expected to go from first to the last chapter. And I think this is fine. There is also a reference.
Yes. Yeah.
I will suggest like this, because I want to keep this meeting short. Let's discuss this next time. I hope that everybody that you are listening, I mean, if it's fine with you, because I want to kind of have the input, and maybe there's going to be somebody else interested in this, and you know, we can gather a wider audience that wants to fix these things. And I think then we will have a better discussion.
Yes, I believe this discussion should be handled in a more open avenue than the marketing meetings.
I mean, we can do small changes, you know, adding a new guide,
yes.
adding new tutorial, but this is as far as we'll go. We won't restructure anything as part of the marketing team. But we should, I hope that with this meeting and this whole discussion we had, we kind of intrigued all the community to consider joining the marketing, or just like come to the marketing team so we can work on documentation and found the documentation team. Would this be okay if we conclude with this topic?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this was the Learn page, and now the last page. So these are all the pages except the features page. And I started to work on it already, although I don't have any. I only designed it because I think once we see it, and I didn't create a pull request, I'll just show the local development instance what I have so far. So the first thing, I renamed it because features sounded a bit wrong, because I'll go behind this reason. People don't want to learn about all the features of Nix. They want to learn how and why does it work. What's the overview? You know, like let me understand. You know, a bit more than in this video what is about.
Yeah, it totally makes sense.
Yeah. So we can discuss this if this renaming is good. Like I lost it now. Here it goes. I'm not married to it. I just want to kind of give it there, think about it, and let's see. So this is the design. It's kind of merge of all three designs that we had. It's like a line. It has the first line. Please, whoever watches this is not going to be the text. It's just, this is like a work in progress, and we don't want to limit ourselves with. It's going to be much less marketingy. But so it's going to be a title describing a benefit, explaining it a bit with the description, and then really explaining it as we had in the previous features page. So in this case, it's a not so good example because we need to change a lot of this text, but let's say stop looking for what it is missing. Let Nix reminds you. This is talking, make sure nothing gets left behind, and reduce the risk of incomplete dependency. Stop. So all this is quite non-technical, the first part, and then the second part, which can be also hidden, will actually explain the feature that we want to that we want to talk about, which is in this case complete dependencies, right? And here I actually just copied the text from previous website. Like Nix ensures that the package dependencies specification is complete and so on. I'm not sure, like this is just a work in progress, as I said, but the structure, how I want, why are there these numbers, is because I want to tell the story, and it's like, oh, if you do this, then this is the next step. Kind of, I'm not sure this is what we want, but I might remove the numbers and just have them some other graphic there, or just no numbers. Yeah, the graphics are also just taken from the design. Yes, Samuel, I learned how to extract the graphics with Inkscape.
Nice.
Yeah, so this, yeah, so in the next days, in the next day, tomorrow, actually, I hope to work on the actual content of this. And after that, once we have the first, I'm going to be contacting and talking on the NixOS marketing team, marketing channel to kind of collect feedback. And once we are happy with the kind of version 0, I'll create a pull request, not to kind of create a negative surprise with all this here. For example, this definitely will go away and the sky is the limit, right? Sounds okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think this is it about the features page. Kind of looking what do we have to still to discuss. So yeah, so hopefully tomorrow, after tomorrow, we'll get the features page pull request, and then we can work about the little details about how to yeah, the wording, basically, to explain it. And important, we just need to be better than before. Still explaining everything, but yeah, small steps, and we can always improve it. It's not the end product. Yeah, this, and the last thing I wanted to kind of bring up, and I think this is the last discussion I'd like to have, is if there are no comments on this. Okay, and the last step I'd like to talk about is actually the how you call it, the front page. So basically this text, the description. I think with Samuel, we kind of got an idea how to rename it, how to restructure it. We are not happy, but I think it's still better than the previous one. And I don't have a PR to actually show this, but I'm gonna copy paste 2 sentences in the here we go. So there are typos, so please don't judge me. No, come on. I should have prepared this beforehand. Okay. Let's see, where do we make? So I think there is a, I don't know how to do this, but let's say there is a spot which we don't know what to put. So this, and then that takes, so I'll read it. Nix is a tool that takes a unique approach to package management and system configuration. Learn how many enjoy making reproducible, declarative, and reliable systems. So kind of shorten it, combine it. We talk about Nix as the command line utility. We talk about package management. We talk about system and configuration. And we just invite them, and we kind of mention these three reproducible, declarative, and reliable words, which is kind of our top 3 features that we want to point out.
I would drop the enjoy and just say learn how to make reproducible blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Just,
Okay.
I can just
Please fix it. So I think this command line utility is actually just using a tool is much better, because and I don't have a better
tool. Yeah, I mean, because command line utility is a bit too little, really. I mean, it's a system and a language, so let's tool.
Yeah.
I had the same point when I had my initial chat with Rock, that it was too reductive to say that it was a command line utility.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So this might be like
and just
a way
before,
forward.
if we and describing everything like it's a tool, it's a language, and it's everything that it is, it becomes too much. So ideally, we want one word that describes what everything is.
I think tool is okay. I mean, you could also say system, but that's a very vague word, and it's also a bit more intimidating. So
there is also toolkit, which is even.
I mean,
then
toolkit sounds like, I don't know, a library or something. You can.
Yeah.
Tool is fine, I think.
I hope that, if somebody know from the listeners, if you have a better proposal, please write it in the comments below, above. Well, not in the discourse where we will post this. But I think this is like a first step forward. And if nothing else, I hope we kind of push the right ideas out of the community with this. So sounds good. I can do this change, and the only thing that is going to change on the front page, but this is kind of coming together with the features page, is these three things. We're just going to change them and talk differently about them, right? Reproducible is going to be something, I don't know, be carefree or something like this. Like, we're going to talk about the benefit and not the feature of the feature, reproducibility, because there are many benefits from reproducibility, so we'll just expose one, and of course link to the rest of the overview. But I think with this, it's kind of rounds up the whole redesign. The whole redesign effort. And hopefully by the next meeting, we can get this we can get this done and focus on other things already.
Yeah. All right, awesome.
Okay, so small steps, we're moving forward.
Well, I mean, these were pretty big steps, actually.
I think it's important that even if it's okay that we are not happy with this, but still going for it. We are not looking for perfect thing, a perfect description of Nix, right? I don't think it exists. But it's good to just let's do it better, and then better and better, and we'll get somewhere. this way. Awesome. Yeah, that's it. I think let's meet in 2 weeks, and meanwhile, we'll communicate over the NixOS marketing. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Yeah, you too. Bye-bye.